You're right, this is a follow-up video really for a PHP explode and implode video I did. This is going to be kind of an equivalent way of doing that in JavaScript. So I'll be quick with this really. So let's have a quick look at the page. Let's refresh that. Right, so I've got these two text boxes here and these four check boxes. Right, this text box is a string of IDs delimited by a comma. Obviously there's nothing there yet. And this string gets built by clicking these. So when you click through these, it builds this string of, in this example, these would be member IDs. Right, and what this bottom one is when I click one of these, so when I untick it, we want to remove this ID from there. So when I tick that, it removed that ID, and what this is the index that ID was in that string. I hope that makes sense. It might not, but it will when I show you the code. So again, so if we want to remove this one, number 44, this number here should be 1 when I click this. Right. Yeah, so 1, right? And then 23 will be, no, let's do 32 because that'll be 0. And then that'll be 0 as well. Right, so let me show you the code and I'll show you what I was going on about them. Right, so what we've got is there's the 4 checkboxes. And these are all hard coded, but you would, if you were doing something like this, it would be a loop from your database, and these numbers, which would be a member ID for instance, would be come through on each pass through the loop. So it's there, there, there. So what we've got is on click a function for each one of these checkboxes, and all it does is it passes the ID in this case. We've got two input text areas, no, not text areas, text boxes. Here, the top one was the member string that we build, the bottom one is the index. So here's the function. So what we've got is, that's just setting up the array. Right, so we do a check on the current one, when the function's called, we do a check on the current checkbox to see is it checked or not. So if it is checked, meaning you've clicked it and it's got the tick in it, then it runs this little bit of code here. When you unclick it, uncheck it, whatever you want to call it, it runs this. So first I'll go through when you do click, check, whatever you want to call it. So just put add here. So what this does is it will add to our string. So first we get the string of that text area, text field, which is this top one. We do a check where if it's not empty, we're going to split it at the comma. I've done this because if it is empty and you split it, so there's nothing there and you split it at the comma, it will just give you a comma at the beginning at the beginning of your array, which you don't want. So just do this quick little check. If it's not empty, then, split it. Right, so then what we do, we push the ID. I mean, what I will say is just ignore my variable names for the most part. I mean, I've just really quite quickly did all this, so it's a bit rushed. But yeah, so anyway, so what we're doing is we're pushing the ID that was passed to the function into this array. Then we're going to turn that array into a string. Then we're going to put that string into the members text box. So if you think of this as opposed to the PHP version, split would be the equivalent to explode for this instance. Push would be like array underscore push in PHP, and join would be like implode. So I'll show you that. So now when we're doing this, it's running through that function each time, and it's just adding to that. And you see, because we do the check where is it empty, we're not getting that we're not getting that comma at the beginning. So this time we're going to untick. So this should give us, and this, when I untick 876, we should get an index of 1, and it removes it. Yeah, right. So in this one, it's quite similar. We get the value of the text box. Again, we check. If it's not empty, split it. But what we do here is a little bit different. We want to remove the ID from the ID from the array. But the thing is, we know the ID, which would be the value in the array, but we don't know the key. So we use this function, just putting it into a variable index. We get the index of that value in that array. Okay, so it's really simple. Get the index, which means get the key to this value from that array. Then what we do is, this is just putting that index into that text box, which is this one. And then what we do is we remove, splice means remove this key, and this number is how many elements to remove from that key. We only want to remove one element from this key in this array. Then we join that array back to a string, and then we put that string in that text box. So that's it really. And as you can see, it's doing it. It's not. I did have one problem actually, which you might come across, is when I add all of them, and then say I wanted to remove them in a different order. So say the last one we clicked was 32. Say I click that, you can see it's working now, but before the index that I was getting was incorrect, and that was because if you see here, I've put the ID variable in this way. If I had it like this, wait there, I may as well just show you. When I had it like this, so let's add a couple, and I'd click unset, I was getting -1 every time. So it was removing the wrong ones. So yeah, so I found that doing that sorts that out. I think it expects a string. I'm not 100%, but yeah. But doing that gets rid of that and makes it return the correct index each time. But yeah, I hope that's helpful. I'll put the code in the description.